This week on the Redeemed Marriage Podcast, we're going to be wrapping up our Christmas series where we've been talking about some of our favorite Christmas movies and giving some application to marriage. And so this week, one of our favorite Christmas movies of all time, and we're going to be talking about how it relates to the grass is not always greener on the other side. So stay tuned. Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Redeemed Marriage Podcast. This is going to be our final episode of 2023, right?
That's crazy, yeah.
Yeah, so Christmas for us, when we're actually recording this, is a week from tomorrow. And then, of course, we will have the new year that will come the next weekend. And then 2024 is here. So we're kind of in the middle of all things Christmas around here. Heather's been wrapping presents all day. I have not been wrapping presents all day. I know my place in this world, and it is not that. So Heather made fun of me for the introduction that we just did.
It was funny. And then you actually said the words, it's like doing a podcast with a 2-year-old.
No, it was because in case every now and then you hear a little, it's because Heather decided she would eat a little snack on her way up to the podcast room upstairs. And
I couldn't help it. It's white trash. Who can resist white trash?
Yeah. And so then she proceeded to give me the...
Hey, do you think everybody knows what white trash is? Or do you think that's just a Mississippi thing?
I have no idea. You can tell them if you want to.
If you have not had white trash, you should Google it. It's like Chex cereal and Cheerios and M&Ms and pretzels. And I think that's it. And you mix it all up with white chocolate. It is so good. It's kind of like regular trash, except it's white.
There's probably people out there that have no idea what regular trash is.
Chex Mix-ish.
Yeah, like Chex Mix. Mm-hmm. Okay, and we were way off course right then.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right.
I am so excited about this movie because Family Guy is...
Not Family Guy.
Oh.
Family Guy is like, isn't that
Oh,
weird?
that's that cartoony
Yeah.
thing. No. Not Family Guy. X-nay, the Family Guy. No, Family Man. The Family Man.
Yeah.
Such a great movie. It's old. Did you look up when it released?
No, I didn't.
I shall look it up while you introduce, because it's important for these people to know that it's old because they may not have ever heard of it before. But it's
Okay.
Nicolas Cage.
Look it up for us real
Okay.
quick. Are you finding it over there?
Yeah. Okay, here it is. So it's Nicolas Cage and Tay Leone. I love her too. But it was written, it came out in 2000.
Okay.
So it's 23 years old. That's pretty significant, right?
Yeah, we're just old, so it doesn't feel very old. We're like, oh yeah, because it wasn't in the 80s when we were growing up. So it's brand new.
2000. And it's listed as
It's
comedy
a new release.
/ romance. But anyway, so if I had to pick, now I know there's the whole...
Well, hold on a second.
Oh.
When we were talking about it, I said to you, one that we've never done is Family Man.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, is it a Christmas movie? And you were like immediately, oh yeah. So yeah, why? Because it's not.
It takes place at Christmas, and it was released December 22nd. So it's
Okay.
definitely a Christmas movie.
Okay.
Way more than Die Hard is, just because it takes...
no. You just said the same thing. You just gave the same exact argument for Die Hard because you said, I said, why is Family Man? Oh, because it takes place at Christmas. Die Hard is Christmas Eve.
Okay.
What?
So I get that it's... I just don't think you can compete with Christmas Vacation and Elf and Die Hard.
Die Hard. You just said it.
Okay. Because of our four family. I think that those are... As in general, I think that if we had to pick a Christmas movie, it would, it's that Jingle All the Way.
Yeah.
So good.
But I love Family Man.
Yeah.
All right, let's give the quick version. Come on.
You do it.
Why?
Okay, I'll tell the quick version because you have all the wonderful lessons from it.
No. Go.
Yeah, you do. Okay, so Nicolas Cage is a very successful businessman. Single, lives in the high-rise apartment. I mean, has the crazy car, has a different woman in his apartment every night. I mean, just what he dreamed about being, I guess, is what he thought a success was. And it flashes back to when he dated Tay Leone right outside of I guess in college. And he leaves her to go on a trip. And she said, I'm afraid if you get on that trip plane.
Yeah, it was an internship for his business.
Mm-hmm. And she said, I'm afraid if you get on that plane, you'll never come back. And he was like, no, I'll be back. I love you, blah, blah, blah. And then it flips forward and he obviously never came back because he's this business guy. Okay, so very successful businessman. Then he meets somebody that through some events, he goes back in time and he wakes up. Well, not necessarily back in time. It's still the same time, but he had a different life.
Yeah.
So he wakes up.
Yeah, the person. It's almost like a Christmas Carol.
Yeah,
where where they get to see scenes of Christmas past, Christmas future, like that kind of thing.
Yep.
But this is just the person that shows up, whether it's an guardian angel or whatever, and he takes him and just plops him down into this completely different life.
Yeah. So it's not like he sees three different things. It's just, this is what your life would have been like if you had chosen her. And so he wakes up in the bed with her Christmas morning. Well, is it Christmas morning? I think it is. Or close to it. I don't know. Anyway, he wakes up and he's in the bed with her and he's like, what in the world? And she's like, there are kids running in and, and he's like, where am I? And he tries to leave and, freaks out because that's not the life he wanted. But then he falls in love with that life over the next several days, realizing where he is and that he's staying there. But then he knows that bell's going to ring on the bike and he gets told when that bell rings, it's over. And so all of a sudden he doesn't want it to end.
Yeah.
So do you want me to tell the...
No. I was just going to say, he even, like his job, he works at a tire shop. It's a family business. And as he finds out more and more, it's because it was his father-in-law, right? Because he had a heart attack. And so like that was over. That was the life. He was really such a great guy. He just said, well, I'll go and take over. So he sacrificed everything that he had ever dreamed of for this life. And then he ended up realizing that was what would bring him more joy, was being this family man instead of what his current situation was.
And so then at the end,
you can tell the end,
the bell rings and he's like, oh my gosh, I'm going back. And he tries not to go to sleep because he wants that life. Like he just sits in the room watching her sleep and goes around and looks at the, different, I think it's 3 children. And he's like, I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. And, but then, he ends up falling asleep. And when he wakes up, he's right back, in his big high rise place. And he realizes like, this is not what I wanted. He thought that's what he wanted, but it wasn't what he wanted. And so then he has to find her to meet up with her and try to start that life that he had seen. So sweet music.
And the end is really good because it just kind of leaves everything sort of wide open.
Yeah, because when I first saw it, I was like, what? Like I need him to go back and be with her and to, let that be his life. But it's like, okay, now I get a chance to build this life now that I have seen what's important and what really matters. So,
Yeah, and so when we were talking about, well, what's the marriage lesson in this? It's a little bit of a reversal of like the grass is always greener because like the life that he was in,
he thought was the
greener, and then it ended up being no. What I really wanted was this family, and so I started thinking about just how much we get stuck in this family woman life, and we're thinking, there's always something. We think there's something better. We think that person's life is better. We think that being with that person would be better. If I had done this instead of where I'm at now, things would be better. I'd be happier, all that kind of stuff. And the reality is that, the things that you think make your life tough and hard, and maybe, you wish that it was different in some ways, that's actually the thing that brings you the most joy if you look at it in the right perspective. And it's the thing that so many people wish that they had and would probably change in a heartbeat if they could have it.
Mm-hmm. And it's just choosing to have joy where you are, and one of the things, we didn't even talk about this, but one of the things that in that movie that is fascinating when you look at it through the lens of how to make your marriage better is when he woke up in the new life as a dad, as a family man, there were obviously parts where the wife let on that he had not been the best husband lately, or had not been the best dad lately, that maybe he had gotten a little grumpy in his having to go to work every day at the tower place. And the children were getting on his nerves and, all of that. But when he realizes and he starts falling in love with being a family man, then he makes things better. Yeah. And he starts, hitting her on the butt as she walks by, and she's like, what's gotten into you, because he's making things better in that.
Because he's happy. He realizes how happy that life makes him.
Right. And then the other part of the movie that is, it's just singing that same song, is he realizes his best friend is miserable in his marriage and he's wanting out. He's like, I can't do this all the time. She's wearing me down. The kids are getting on my nerves. I just got to get out. And he talks him into staying. He's like, man, you don't realize how good your life is. You have a wife that loves you. You have children that adore you. Why are you trying to, and I think he even was like, I could, have that woman that at the bowling alley or whatever. And he's like, don't mess up what you have. I don't know. So it's just a really sweet reminder that, you can be in a marriage and think, oh, the grass is greener on the other side. And really it's not. Or you can be in the place that you thought was so good and it's not, or you haven't found joy in where you are. And that's the part that was really, really sweet to me when we were talking about the movie is, he had these two different worlds, but he found joy in being where he was. And that's just, I think so many of us miss it. We get so wrapped up in the if he would just or if she would just, instead of making it our responsibility and our job to find joy in the circumstances we're in.
One of the things that I really love about that movie, because as you were talking, I was just playing it back in my mind, and I was thinking about all the simple things that he experiences. His lifestyle was so flashy, and he gets to this new lifestyle and everything is completely different. And even when he goes to his closet to pick out his clothes, it's just because he's used to wearing a new suit almost every day. And he opens it up and he's like, am I really supposed to wear this?
Right. Everything was flannel.
Yeah. Just like, and then he goes and gets in his car and it's not this nice sports car. It's just a it might have been a van or something. I don't know, or station wagon or something, but he gets in and he's like, what is this? And then he goes to sell tires at the tire shop and the kids, he's changing diapers and, the kid, he's having to take kids for a walk and the dog, the animal taking dogs outside and, the things that are just, it's real life. And part of the reason why I think that I love that movie is because it shows this like normal life, which most of us live in.
Right.
And it's not a Hallmark movie. You know, it's not where everything is perfect. It's just like, this is real life. And what he comes to realize at the end is this, what most people see as real life, it doesn't get any better than that.
That's right.
And, you know, people think that there's always something better. And I think too, I mean, I love that you pointed out that he did make things better. Like his family started seeing a different, you know, a new man, because all of a sudden he gained this completely new perspective of, man, this is what I've always wanted. And so he makes life for himself better. He makes life for his family better. And I think that there's a lot of us that just can get stuck in this, you know, well, you know, it's family, it's the same old, and getting up and going to work and coming home to the same spouse and coming home to the same problems and the same kids. And so much of it is just saying, man, it doesn't get any better than this, so I'm going to make it the best that I can make it.
That's right. And just knowing that you can't count on your family to bring you joy. Like that comes from within, and you can, you know, I mean, obviously we find our joy. I mean, it's Christmas time. We're talking about that Jesus is the joy. I mean, he is the joy to the world. And so he's our joy, and that gets to overflow onto our family, and just making sure that we take that responsibility for our own. And I know it's called the family man, but I mean, this is for women too. Like just knowing that our perspective, what the lens that we look through has to be the correct one of thanksgiving and one of happiness and joy, because it's not greener on the other side. It's just realizing what you have and being so incredibly thankful for what you have and making that your best.
Yeah. You mentioned the friend, and the friend just kind of trying to get out of his marriage. He was so bummed, and like he was able to, you know, really talk him out of it and say, no, you know, you need to remain faithful. And I think there was even, if I remember right, there was even somebody that started flirting with him.
Yeah, that was the bowling alley girl.
Yeah, and so he, you know, in his
with Nicolas Cage.
With the main character, and you know who he was in his real life, would have never thought. I mean, like that's the way he lived. It was like, which girl is next, you know, and he was quick to like put it down and say, no, I'm going to be faithful to, you know, to my wife and my family, and, you know, completely changed who he was even in reality.
Right.
Because he realized, man, I'm not messing up. I'm not messing up this. And what he was in danger of messing up was kids that he had to change their diapers for, and kids that are throwing food around, and the rushing around of fixing breakfast and fixing lunches for people and getting in this old car and going to his same boring job every day. But he didn't care. He was like, I'm not risking this for what I think would be a fun time with somebody else.
Right.
So, you know, to wrap things up, why don't we just for a second talk about a couple of things, maybe practical things that people can do during this Christmas season just to kind of change their perspective a little bit, just on their situation, and, you know, maybe the way that they're thinking, to where they're not thinking about the grass being greener. We hear all the time, the grass is not greener on the other side. You need to water your own grass, water where you're planted, you know, that kind of thing.
Isn't there one too about the septic tank?
Yeah, the grass is greener over there, but there's a septic tank.
Yeah.
You know, there's all kinds of stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's important just to really focus on where you are, and that's the whole point. Water your own grass. You know, don't think about the grass being greener somewhere else. And I know for me, one of the things that I was just thinking when we were talking through this is the wife. So what's her name in real life?
Tay Leone.
So, you know, I mean, again, this is a movie, but she was already in this life.
Yeah.
And But what I loved about her character is that her attitude was just like I think, she knew that things could have been different, because they made choices and sacrifices, really because he ended up not going on that internship. He decided to stay with her. And then I think that he still had an opportunity, and they both did, to be successful in their careers, but he made the family decision to stay and work for the family because they needed somebody to take over the tire business, and so, but her attitude the whole time was just, hey, we could have made other choices, but this is where we are. And she was always so happy. Like, I loved, like, when she was looking forward to the present, their anniversary. It was an anniversary that was supposed to come up, and she was so excited. What'd you get me? And like everything was just, and I mean, even like I remember just when life was crazy and like she's running around trying to fix people's lunches, but she was just always happy about it. And so, like, she got it, she got it, that this is the life that we've chosen for ourselves, and we're going to make the very best of it.
Well, and just super thankful, super thankful for where they were, and that, that he chose her, and that she chose him. And when you were talking about things that we can, practically think about and do, that's one of the things that came to my mind, is just being thankful for the life that you have. And then with that comes the challenge of, if your thoughts go to something else, take them captive. I use 2 Corinthians 10:3-5 all the time because it is a life verse for me, in taking your thoughts captive, and not only taking them captive, but making them obedient to Christ. And that is just so powerful in this context of, if there's, the bowling lady that flirts with you, and or not inappropriate, but a text from the opposite sex that you're like, this is not, okay, it's not business, it's something else, or anything that comes in, even the thought of what life would be like if you had made different decisions, just taking those thoughts captive and being, obedient to the fact that you're in a covenant relationship with your wife, and therefore you have covenant relationship with your children as well, like promises to them to be the best mom you can be, the best dad you can be, and to make your marriage the best it can be. And that's, just being committed to that, and not looking through the lens of victim or woe is me or everybody else has it better, but looking at it through the lens of being super grateful for where you are.
I think that the two main characters, because Nicolas Cage and Tay Leone, their contrast, I think, is a contrast in what marriages are, because there are marriages out there that they're good, and the perspective of Tay Leone in the movie is she's just happy the choices that they made brought them to where they are, and they're just living. And so her perspective is really good. So I'm saying that those marriages out there that are like, hey, we just need to be really thankful. But there are marriages, though, that people that are listening to us going, no, like this is not good. The marriage that I'm in and the way it is not good. And, that's what Nicolas Cage stepped into, because when he first got there, it was not, it was, this is not good. Like, this is not what I chose.
Back to where I was.
Yeah, I did not choose this for myself. I did not want, this job, these kids, all of that. But what he did was, like we've already said, he started changing his actions. Where for her, it was more of an attitude. It was more of a, hey, I'm just thankful for this. But for him, he was in a spot that it wasn't as good as what he was expecting. So he started changing to make it even better and to involve himself into making change to make it a better situation for him. So, I mean, I would just say that for those of you that are out there that are like, no, I'm not in a good situation. Like, our marriage is bad. It's hard. Things are hard financially. I don't enjoy my job, all of those things. And so much of it does become, okay, well, what can you change about yourself to start making all of those things better? And you start being the catalyst and the agent of change.
Yep.
In that.
Yep.
All right. So, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Christmas.
And
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We've got some great, fun things in store for the new year. So, a lot of that's going to be rolling out in the next couple of weeks.
You're the one that sounds like you ate white trash.
Yeah, and I did not. But we're gonna have some new products and some new things that we're offering. So just stay tuned to all of our social media and our website. And we look forward to just communicating and being involved with you in the new year. So enjoy time with your family, and remember the grass is green right where you are. So make it greener there. All right. Merry Christmas.